For school teacher Leonard Selva, most of his busy schedule is devoted to grooming young minds.
Just look at the board and explain to me. Faster now. Strictly
But
1
once
minute.
outside of the classroom, he immerses himself in his favorite extracurricular activity. Leonard has taught himself to play one of the most complex instruments of all, the pipe organ. It's a passion that's fostered grand ambitions.
My dream is to give a recital at a Philharmonic Hall. That's my dream.
Now, this organ enthusiast is taking his music to the big stage, Malaysia's world-class Philharmonic Hall. He hopes to give the biggest performance of his life.
Yeah, this is the first time for me. I'm not taking any chances here.
And share the extraordinary story of a musical obsession.
It's the ultimate instrument of all. Get ready for the unexpected.
Georgetown, Penang, one of Malaysia's heritage capitals. Its colonial past made apparent by well-preserved buildings. Among them stands the Penang Free School. Founded in 1816, it's one of the oldest schools in Southeast Asia. Today, Leonard Selva hopes to instill an appreciation for history in a younger generation.
Good morning, boys. Sit down. Okay, guys. 1910. Who was leading? China. 1910. As I always tell you, if you don't know history, there's no point studying it. There's no point living as a human being. Leave the planet. Seriously, I mean this, huh? Okay. So watch this out. I'll give you 1 minute. Look at it. Close the book. Just look at the board and explain to me. Faster now. Strictly 1 minute.
Leonard's enthusiasm for teaching history is matched only by his passion for music.
Notes are excellent. Just I want more mysterious effect. So, the guys when they come in, Baba.
He sets the bar high at each band practice, determined to coax the best performance out of his boys.
Do it in a way, always give a surprise to the audience.
Leonard is also one to practice what he preaches. Penang's Church of the Assumption is home to one of only 5 pipe organs in the country. Equipped with 600 individual pipes, this stalwart pipe organ has been serving the local parish for nearly a century, making it the oldest playable pipe organ in Malaysia. It's here that Leonard transforms himself from school teacher to musician, and he's chosen to do it with one of the most difficult instruments to master, what Mozart famously called the king of instruments.
The organ for me is a living being. It sort of gives us full, proper spectrum of sonic balancing. It's the ultimate instrument of all. My dream is to give a recital at a Philharmonic Hall and to let the audience come out of the concert saying, wow, I never knew an organ could do that. That's my dream.
In order to share his passion for the pipe organ with a wider audience, Leonard must head to the country's capital, Kuala Lumpur. At the base of the world's tallest standing twin towers is the Dewan Philharmonic Petronas, or DFP. This is the country's premier concert hall and home to the internationally renowned Malaysian Philharmonic Orchestra. taking pride of place above the stage, a custom-built 3007 pipe Kleis organ, the largest pipe organ in the country. Mark Rochester is the DFP's resident organist.
The organ effectively takes up the whole of one wall of the hall, 20-30 metres from bottom to top. There's 3007 pipes squeezed in behind the console. How the keyboards send the messages up to the pipes are through these things here, which are called trackers. And each tracker reacts to one particular note. Some of these are very, very thin, and when you press the keys down, they go along from the keyboard, up, and they then operate these, which send the message up to the soundboard, which is where all the pipes are. The organist, having already selected which pipes are going to be used, that then opens the little door at the bottom of the pipe, the wind goes up, and the note sounds. As the king of instruments, it can do everything every other instrument can do, only it can do more. We have 54 musical instruments on this organ, but only one person playing. So in effect, it's one person doing the job of 54 people.
One person yearning to play one-man symphony on the Kleis organ is Leonard Selver. He's convinced the DFP to let him stage a solo recital, but for a first-time performer, this could be a very tall order. Over the last 6 months, he's had to receive intensive coaching.
Leonard heard we had a resident organist, and as soon as he heard we were here, he contacted me. He was pretty well self-taught, but he'd never encountered anything quite like this. Bum, ba, 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 dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee. You can't do that too much on the organ, but you can imitate. He's not given a concert here before, but I'm sure he will very far from disgrace himself, because Leonard is one of these people who loses himself in the music. A couple more lessons will do the trick just nicely, but he's coming on all right.
And I think this recital for me is a pre-test of being a professional organist.
I mean, of course, you can laugh at it. Maybe even I laughed at it earlier of me giving a recital here, actually. And I always tell my kids that, go after your dreams, no matter how high it is. And I think as a teacher, I should walk the talk.
The performance is now just a week away. If Leonard succeeds, he'll be the first Malaysian ever to give a solo organ recital here. In Georgetown, Penang, stands the Church of the Assumption, founded in 1786. Within its sanctuary is one of the last surviving pipe organs in Malaysia. Maintaining the organ's 100-year-old legacy is not easy, but for parishioners like Ian Campbell, it's well worth the effort.
In my estimate, she's about the oldest playable organ in this country. The tuning is not the greatest at the moment. When you're tuning the whole thing, you need to go from one note to another. So you need somebody to hold the keys.
As resident organist, schoolteacher Leonard Selver is equally devoted to the upkeep of this rare instrument, even if it does take a fair amount of work.
So one?
That one.
This one?
That one.
Despite their best efforts to maintain its signature sound, this English-made pipe organ is starting to feel its age.
Okay, buddy. Yep.
Okay, basically organ pipes, you're not tuning them to a pitch, but you're tuning one pipe to another. So when organ pipes are in perfect tune, the octaves, there have been absolutely no wow, 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 wow at all. If anything did happen to this organ and she wasn't able to sing anymore, I think the saddest person in the world would be yours truly. But I love this old lady. She's not the biggest organ, she's not the best organ in the world, but she is, she's our organ.
And it's been the humble little church organ that's inspired Leonard to take his passion to a bigger stage.
Like we're driving another car. Penang organ is so different. So I'm going to go and meet another engine.
Today, Leonard's taking his regular trip from Penang to Kuala Lumpur to practice playing on the biggest pipe organ in the country. Though the pipe organ is commonly associated with a Western classical tradition, the Philharmonic Hall's Mark Rochester believes it also has a connection with this country.
The interesting thing about the organ is the organ was very much an instrument which was associated in the early days of Islam, in the Islamic countries, the Arabic world. And so I always say that the fact that we have an organ not only here in Asia, but in Islamic countries, the fact that the organ is effectively coming home.
The prospect of being the first Malaysian to deliver a solo recital on the KL organ has fueled Leonard's enthusiasm.
They say, like, you know, at every end of a rainbow you have a pot of gold, and for me it's every journey I make to KL, there's something sweet for me.
With just a couple of days before the big recital, Mark Rochester works out the kinks in his students' performance.
Remember, complete break. You can't just lift one finger off, you've got to lift everything off. Top of the page. Perhaps not so much molto, molto, molto. A little bit more poco, poco, poco. From there again. You've slowed down so much there, there's nowhere else for you to go except to stop. You mustn't tell him this, but he will make it. There's no doubt about it. Leonard is improving by leaps and bounds, but the secret is the determination which he has.
Back in Georgetown, Penang, Leonard has to juggle his passion for the organ with the full-time responsibilities of family. Leonard's wife, Gloria, has always been supportive of her husband's musical ambitions. To fulfill that dream, Leonard has had to devote any free time to practice. But the pressure is getting to him.
Things have been very tense up for me. I've put in a lot of time. I need a break. I usually hang out at my favorite jazz joint where I have my friends playing jazz and I join them, of course, on the piano. I need a change of mode of transportation. In my sense, it's a mode of instrument. If you're a Formula One driver, of course, it does not mean that you cannot cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Even after a bit of well-deserved fun, Leonard's thoughts never stray too far from the upcoming recital.
And I got to get this thing nailed up pretty fast, pretty soon. And it's very near. If the music doesn't come out, then it's my responsibility. And I am responsible for living up the organ's name. And I don't want to tarnish that, so I have to make sure I nail it right.
The Petronas Twin Towers in Kuala Lumpur, home to the country's premier concert hall. Today, the stage is being set for a unique performance. Backstage, schoolteacher Leonard Selva is preparing for his big debut.
Apparently a banana would calm you. And I just asked my organ teacher, and he said, yeah, a few of the professional organists he has met said, oh, it should have a lot of bananas for you play. Yeah, this is the first time for me. I'm not taking any chances here. I get a brochure, I mean, with such a huge face of mine. I was amazed. Fantastic job. It's very amazing.
Outside, an audience is gathering to witness the first ever Malaysian perform a solo recital on the largest pipe organ in the country. Dear friends like fellow organ enthusiast Ian Campbell have travelled all the way from hometown Penang to share in this special occasion.
Even though it's a free sitting?
Everyone is excited, not least the solo artist and his mentor Mark Rochester.
We've got to go. We're on the road. We've got a winner.
Joke, man. You're killing me, pushing me off a plane, man.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very special event, and it's made possible by the enthusiastic work of a man I'm very proud to say is one of my students. Please welcome Leonard.
It's been a huge challenge for Leonard to graduate from his 600-pipe church organ to this 3007-pipe orchestral giant. Yet Leonard pulls it off with much aplomb.
At the very end of the piece, Leonard's going to pull out every single stop on the organ. So you're going to hear the organ as loud as it's possible to be.
The recital is a resounding success. For Leonard, it's no longer a pipe dream. The novice organ enthusiast has performed on the biggest stage in the country and has won new appreciation for his beloved King of Instruments.
Anyway, how was the last piece? Organ, powerful, now they can feel it. It's like, it's going to like scan. I mean, you feel that.
Like earthquake.
Serious. No, that's what I need to
feel
get
it,
that
yes.
across to people. Oh, thank you.
For Leonard, months of practice and sacrifice have paid off. The experience is made all the more sweeter as it's shared with those who have supported his dreams. Back at the Penang Free School, Leonard Selva returns to a more familiar routine. Just a day ago, he fulfilled an ambition to perform a solo organ recital at Malaysia's premier concert hall. Now, he's back to being Leonard the schoolteacher.
Attention, all music club members. The choir group, please be in the hall now.
Not that he's any less enthusiastic about his twin passions, teaching and music.
Focus. It sounds shaky. Bass, improve on your volume, pitching.
And one place he's happy to return is his local parish, proud home to the country's oldest playable pipe organ. Having served the congregation for nearly a century, the organ is a musical legacy, one that survives only by the constant care Leonard and fellow enthusiasts bestow upon it. And they hope their efforts to maintain the instrument will ensure its sound is treasured for generations more.
Yeah, B flat.
B flat in the 15th.
Because I need to play this often.
Okay. We'll tune the B flat in the 15th.
Okay, okay.
The modest church organ may not be the grandest, but for Leonard, it inspired a musical journey, one that will continue to take him to greater heights.
The closest I had was, I was imagining giving a recital back in church, back in Penang. And that's how my world was actually, until the KL organ came in. It just sort of connected me out. But I will never leave that organ, that's for sure. It's my first love. I mean, if not for the organ, I won't be here talking about the organ itself. And it's very deeply embedded in my heart.